Hare Krishna. So welcome to the session of the Gita course. We'll start singing the Prabhupada Pranam Mantra and then a small Kirtan, and then we'll start today's session. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Please sing louder. Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Please sing louder. Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Bol. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hare, Jaya Gandharvika Jaya Yashoda Damodar, Yashoda Damodar, Yashoda Damodar Shri Radhe, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Yudharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Srila Prabhupada Disappearance Day celebrations ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari. Loose. Make it loose. Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for again convening for the very special Gita course session today. So, very happy. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam Sahastreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye. Very few people, he says, will be interested in Krishna consciousness. Or rather, very few people, one amongst thousands, will be somehow be able to think that what is the success of life. The Supreme Lord says that others will just be running a rat race. They'll be part of a rat race. They'll be running, and then one day they'll die. So very few amongst thousands will think, what is the purpose of life and what is the success of life? And if we select these few amongst the thousands, then amongst the thousands of such few people, only few may be able to understand who is God, who is Krishna, and may be able to practice bhakti. So I'm very happy that all of you or some of you are able to come session after session. Some people are coming, some people are not coming, some people are getting filtered out. Some people are being cheated by their mind. The mind gives them earth-shattering reasons not to come for the sessions. I feel sorry for them and I pray for them. But all those who are coming, I congratulate you. You could have been anywhere else. It's the Diwali and the Durga Puja hangover, which generally I have seen in the past years continues to the end of the year. Somehow people find an excuse that now I'm going for Durga Puja, now I'm going for Diwali, now I'm coming back from Diwali, now I'm celebrating Kannada Rajotsava. And after that, they keep giving some, then December end is coming, so a lot of work in office, and then Christmas, and then they never come back. So somehow these vacations, they help in filtering out people also. So those who remain in these sessions regularly, we take good note of them and then we focus on them and give personal attention to them and help them to come up in Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, my heart goes out for those people who for some reason or the other are not able to come. In my opinion, as a teacher, they are all sincere people. They all want to come for the sessions, but somehow the determination power is little weak due to lack of association of devotees. So my heart goes out for them. Every day in the morning, 4:30 a.m. when I'm doing Tulsi Pradakshina, I remember them and I pray for them. I pray to Krishna to empower them so that they can chant Hare Krishna and take association of devotees. But I'm also dependent on the students here. You must be knowing many of those. They may be your friends. Due to some reason, they may not be coming. So if you can get them back from the Diwali vacation hangover, shake them off and get them back, it will be good. So today's session is a very special session because yesterday was the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. When I speak of Srila Prabhupada, I mean His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, or his full name is Abhay Charanarvind. His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, commonly known as Srila Prabhupada. Generally known, people speak like that. So it was his disappearance day yesterday, and it's a very, very big day for everybody. The appearance and the disappearance day of the acharyas both need to be celebrated. If you carefully notice, I'm not saying the birthday or the death day. I'm saying appearance and disappearance day of the acharyas. There is a difference between appearance day and the birthday. You and me, we have birthdays. Why? Because forced by the laws of material nature, forced by our own karmic reactions, we have been forced to take birth in the womb of a particular mother of a particular species. That is called birthday. If my age is 34 years old, then 34 years ago, I proved that I'm envious of Krishna and I cannot stand the presence of Krishna. I want to enjoy separately from him. I don't want to coexist with him, serve him. So therefore, I have come to this material world, at least. See, I don't know how many millions of previous lives I have had. So I don't know, I can't speak of it for sure. But I can certainly speak of this lifetime. And it's been 34 years since I proved that I'm envious of Krishna. So that is called birthday. Death day means my time is over. Just like when you shoot a bullet, the bullet has already been launched from the gun. And it is just a matter of time, it will hit the target. It's just a matter of time. Similarly, the day anybody is born, since that day, the counter or the time countdown for death has started. So death is like a bullet. It is coming to you. We don't say as sure as, there are 4 stages of life in general: birth, death, old age, and disease. Birth, disease, old age, death. Let's put it like that. So we don't say as sure as disease, as sure as old age, but we definitely say as sure as death. So death is 100% sure it is going to come for everybody. Is there anyone who thinks who can overcome death here? Last time I asked some question, some person raised the hand also. Yeah, I can overcome. Anybody here who can overcome death, please raise your hand. Even Michael Jackson could not overcome it. If Michael Jackson can die, then anybody can die. Correct, no? He made an oxygenation chamber for himself to sleep. And it was said that when he would go inside that oxygenation chamber and sleep, each of his cells will get oxygenated and the aging process of the cells will slow down, and ultimately he'll reach or live up to 150 years. So much scientific advancement was made. Where is Michael Jackson now? Where is he? What age did he die? Let's see. Not even 1/3 of the planned. I mean, I have nothing against Michael Jackson, but I'm just giving an example. There was another politician. I have nothing against the politician, but then just the scenario. She had 100 doctors with her when she was dying. People used to call her Amma. 100 doctors, not just from India, but from various parts of the world. Could they save her? Some people say because of lack of medical facilities and because I'm in a remote village, so I died. But if Amma can die, then anybody can die. So, but the coming of the acharyas, and that's the coming and going of people like us in the material world. We take birth, we are forced to take birth, and we are forced to die. Even if we say that, oh, I'm a great man, I'm a district collector, I'm the prime minister of such and such country, so I should be given another 1 month, I have some very important business to finish. What will death say to us or time say to us? Get lost. Not even 1 second extra you'll get. Your time has come, get out. So, but the coming and going of acharyas in this world is not like that. That's why it's called as appearance and disappearance. Sometimes Krishna comes himself. Sometimes he sends his confidential associates. to encourage us to go back home, back to God. When Krishna comes himself, he displays, he comes as various incarnations. So in our altar, you see there is on the right hand, on your left hand, on the way you are sitting on your right hand side, there is the photo of Narsimhadev. So that is also another incarnation of Krishna. We sing every day in the morning. Tava kara kamalavare nakham adbhuta shringam dalita hiranya kashipu tanubhingam keshavadhrita narahari rupa keshavadhrita narahari rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. So we sing Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakham Adbhuta Shringam. So your hands, we are glorifying Narsimhadev, your hands are as soft as lotus flowers. So if I take a lotus flower and I hit you, what you will feel? Blood will start coming out. You'll feel happy. You'll say, hit me more. Throw more lotus flowers on me. Till now, people have been throwing marigold flowers at me. Nobody threw a lotus flower at me. We'll feel so good. So, this is God. His hand, the verse says, Tavakara Kamala Vare. His hands are as soft as lotus flower. Nakham Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanubhringam. Although his hands are as soft as lotus, but with the same hands, with the nails of the same lotus-like hands, he ripped apart the stone-like chest of Hiranyakashipu. This is God. All contradictions coexist in the personality of God. He is softer than the softest of lotus flowers, at the same time is harder than the strongest of thunderbolts. And both the qualities coexist in him without any contradiction. That is God. So we say Keshava Dhrita Narahari Rupa. Lord Krishna, Keshava Dhrita, he has taken the form of Narahari. That is Narsimhadev. Keshava Dhrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. So Krishna takes various forms. In some forms, he just delivers the devotees and goes back. But then there are some forms where he does many, many pastimes also. Like the incarnation of Lord Ram, Krishna himself. So through these pastimes, he attracts the living entities. He does a very nice campaigning that, my dear Jivatma, my dear spirit soul, why you are suffering in this material world? Going through the cycle of birth, disease, old age, and death. Why can't you just chant my holy names and associate with my name, form, qualities, and pastimes in the association of my devotees? And why can't you just think of me at the time of death and surrender to me and go back home, back to God? It's like a very rich father talking to his son who has run away from home and has accepted self-imposed poverty. So the father is going and telling him that, see, your life was so good. Earlier, you used to stay with me. We had all transcendental opulences. Now, why are you suffering? Come back. So that is Krishna Leela. That is the Leela of Bhagwan. He comes and expands his pastimes just to attract the mind of living entities. And when he does these pastimes, great acharyas like Ved Vyas, they write them down in Srimad Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita, etc. So for the rest of eternity, we have a lot of subject matter to hear about. Imagine if there is no Bhagavad Gita, no Bhagavatam, what will we hear about? Gossip. Who did what? Why they did that? How can they say that? Etc. etc. So this is Krishna. But sometimes Krishna doesn't come himself. He sends his devotees, confidential companions, associates. Because Krishna is a gentleman. He wants everybody to love him because that is their best welfare. But he cannot put a gun on anyone's head and say, please love me. But then his confidential associates can do that. They can really shake up someone and ask that, why are you thinking that God has no form? You idiot. Why are you thinking that God has no qualities? Nirakar, what is that? All this. Why are you getting in this nonsense? God has a name, God has a form, God has qualities, God has pastimes, God has an address, God has devotees, he has likes, he has dislikes, he has emotions. Why can't you just serve him? So they can literally shake up anybody, hold your collar or t-shirt and ask you. In that way, they share the anxiety of God, the acharyas. So when they come into the world, they are not forced by the laws of material nature. They have been sent by Krishna. So they coming to the material world is a proof that Krishna loves us. I hope you are hearing these points with a lot of attention. The presence of the acharyas, the presence of the Vedic literature is the proof that Krishna loves us. He cares for us. So one such acharya is His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He was sent in this world by Krishna. And then Krishna, when he needed him back for some other purpose, he called him back again. So therefore, he appears and disappears. Krishna appears and disappears. His confidential, eternally liberated, confidential associates, they also appear and disappear. So yesterday was the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. Now, appearance day, I understand it must be celebrated because an acharya has come. We are going to get his association. The world is going to get purified. But why do we celebrate the disappearance? We should be crying, right? Shedding tears, bringing garlands, putting on the photo, fasting. Why are we celebrating? Why do we call it Disappearance Day celebration?
Going back to Krishna.
He is going back to Krishna. The death, or the not death, the passing away of a Vaishnava has to be celebrated. Because a soul went back home, back to God. That is a reason for celebration. People find so petty reasons for celebration, Today morning, someone messaged me that they are a part of pet parents group. And some Halloween party is going on. And one pet parent is looking for a Batman costume for their dog. But somebody said, I don't have a Batman costume, I have a Superman costume. Please take it. And then after that, so much celebration is happening. Yes, my dog is going to wear a Superman. So people find crazy reasons for celebration. If they can just wait for a little time in their next life, they will become dogs. Don't worry. And they'll feel, every dog feels like he's a Superman. But the real reason for celebration is the appearance and the disappearance day of the acharyas, the various incarnations of God. So we are celebrating the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. And this is the day when I wanted to formally introduce Srila Prabhupada. You must have heard about him. But I also want to do my job as a teacher of introducing formally to you. How many of you have never heard of Srila Prabhupada? Can you please raise your hand? That yes, I have never heard. It's the first time I've come today. I have no idea. Okay.
Just a comment. I don't know if you are aware from when jewelry services.
Yes, I'm aware. Yes. I had requested him to do that. But anybody who doesn't know anything about Srila Prabhupada, I will just present him small description. I will begin with the pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada, and that will give you an idea of who is the personality we are talking about. So every session we begin with this pranam mantra, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So everybody has a pranam mantra. Generally, I say these pranam mantras every session. Would you like to hear it again? Okay, then you can join me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत् So this is the series of pranam mantras which I say, or which we say, or every speaker should say in the beginning when they start addressing, or when they start doing anything important in their life. Every personality has a pranam mantra. For example, Lord Krishna has a pranam mantra. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostate. So whenever we are approaching Lord Krishna, we should say this pranam mantra. That invokes the mercy of the personality. So similarly, when we are approaching Prabhupada, he also has been given a pranam mantra. So I will now explain to you the meaning of that pranam mantra, and then you'll be able to appreciate whom am I talking about. Can we fill this gap? There's a lot of gap here. Please come forward. If we can fill the until unless there is no problem to anybody. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale. This means I offer my respectful obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. One who is as respectable as God, who is not God, but as respectable as God. His presence can be understood to be the presence of God, and who has very tightly taken or caught hold of the lotus feet of Krishna. One who has very tightly, Vishnupad, one who has very tightly caught hold of the lotus feet of Krishna or Vishnu is called Vishnupad. And he is very dear to Krishna, Krishna Prishthaya, very dear to God. We are all dear to God, but there are few acharyas who are very, very dear to God. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya. And where is this personality right now? Bhutale. He is on the earth planet, earthly planetary system, Bhuloka. So Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. My respectful obeisances to that personality who has tightly caught hold to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and is very, very dear to Krishna and is right now on planet Earth. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale. What is his name? Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namin. His name is Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Prabhupada. What is the identity of this Swami? Namaste Saraswati Deve. So just like Krishna's father is Vasudev, so he's called as Vasudev. Similarly, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada is His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So spiritually speaking, Srila Prabhupada is the son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So therefore, his identity is Namaste Saraswate Deve. He is the divine spiritual son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So that is the identity. In fact, if you will read the Lilamrit, the record of the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada written by his disciples. So the disciples have put a photo of Srila Prabhupada in his photo of Srila Prabhupada's passport in the Lilamrit. So you'll see at the age of 69 or 70, when he was planning to go to the West to preach, he was making his passport, and in the place where the father's name has to be written, he has written His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He told that he's my father. So therefore, Namaste Saraswate Deve. He is the son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, spiritual son. And then what is he doing? Gauravani Pracharini. Gaura means Lord Chaitanya. So in the altar, you see there is Radha, Krishna, and then there is Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, who has come in the mood of his own devotee. Lord Krishna told the Bhagavad Gita, but there were many envious people who said, how can Lord Krishna speak like this? What does he think of himself? He is asking us to surrender to him. Why should we surrender to him? I'll surrender to my dog in the Halloween costume. Why should I surrender to Krishna? These kind of idiots were there in Kali Yuga. So seeing no hope for them, Lord Krishna, out of helpless love for them, came back again in Kali Yuga as Lord Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, commonly known as Gaurang. Why? Because he was Krishna himself, but he assumed the mood of Srimati Radharani, the topmost devotee of Krishna. So therefore, although he was Krishna, but his complexion was golden, Gaur. Because he had a golden complexion, so he was called as Gaurang. And Lord Chaitanya or Gauranga is the original teacher. He is Krishna himself. So Srila Prabhupada, what is he doing? Gauravani Pracharini. The original teachings of Lord Chaitanya, he is propagating that. Gauravani Pracharini. And in the process of doing or propagating that Gauravani, what is he doing? Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Nirvishesha. Those who say that God has no form, no name, no qualities. Nirvishesha. Nullists. Shunyavadi, they are called as voidists. Those who say there is nothing. You go to big professors in big universities, you ask them, dear professor, what happens to a person when he dies? So, no, after death, everything is over, finished. Nothing exists. Void, everything is void. They are passing away, or they are passing as big professors of big universities, but they do not know the science of spirit soul. They are simply voidists. They do not believe in karma. They do not believe in the results of karma. They do not believe in the transmigration of spirit soul. They just want to simply lead life like some animal. Please come forward. People are coming and they're not finding place to sit. Yeah, come as forward as possible. Let's be packed up in each other's association. So Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Such people are called as Shunyavadis, voidists. A typical example of the voidists, the people who practice Buddhism, they belong to the category of voidists. They do not believe. I mean, the original, these days, Buddhism also has various flavors. My ancestral place is a place called Gaya. And very close to Gaya, there is another place called Bodh Gaya, where the tree is there under which Lord Buddha is said to have got self-realization. And from there, the Buddhism has started to be spread all over the world. So a lot of Buddhists come there, and different countries where Buddhism is prominent, they have made temples in the honor of Lord Buddha there. So I know a lot about Buddhism. I can tell you that the original teachings of Lord Buddha was completely voidist. Of course, with period of time, many flavors of Buddhism have come. Rather, I should say some adulterations in Buddhism have come. So now they talk various things. But ultimately, the original teachings of Buddhism is voidism. Buddhism does not talk about God. Buddhism does not talk about spirit, soul. So such people, they don't know in which direction they are going. Now, a question may be asked that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned Lord Buddha is the incarnation of God. Why are you speaking so bad about God? I'm not speaking bad about God. I agree that Buddha is an incarnation of God, but he had a different purpose. So, I will take out the Dashavatara Stotram and I will read to you the purpose of Lord Buddha. Hare Krishna. So, in the 9th verse of the Dashavatara Stotram, it is mentioned, Nindasi yajna vidhe ahaha shruti jatam sadaya hridaya darshita pashughatam keshavadhrita buddha sharira keshavadhrita buddha sharira jaya jagadish hare Jai Jagadish. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Buddha, all glories to you. O Buddha of compassionate heart, you decry the slaughtering of poor animals performed according to the rules and regulations of the Vedas. So there was a point of time in Kali Yuga, towards now 5,000 years have passed. In the earlier 1,000, 2,000 years of Kali Yuga, people were still following the Vedic culture, but they were not qualified enough to really understand the meaning of Vedic culture, Vedic literature. So they started slaughtering various animals for the gratification of their tongue. And in order to have the branding of being religious, they were saying that we are following the Vedic literature to slaughter these animals. Bali system we are doing. Actually, I'll explain to you right today the meaning of Bali. Bali is supposed to be a litmus test for the Brahmanas. Just like in chemistry laboratory, we do some litmus tests to determine the acidity or the basicity of an acid or some compound or some kind of a chemical. To test the character of a chemical, we use a litmus test. So similarly, the test whether the Brahmana is qualified or not was this Bali system. An old animal would be brought and would be sacrificed, and the Brahmana, by the power of the chanting of Vedic mantras, was supposed to bring it back to life. And that is the system of Bali. If the Brahmana failed in bringing in the animal back to life, the Brahmana was rejected from doing sacrifice. Do you understand? Have you seen such Brahmanas? Last time you went on epuja.com, where Brahmanas are available for 500 rupees to come and do sacrifice. Did they mention qualified to do Bali? These days, Bali means only one thing. That is Bali. So therefore, Bali is not allowed. I repeat, you can take my name, go to any place in the world and say that Achyut Arjun Sakha Das has told that in Kali Yuga, Bali is banned according to the Bhagavad Gita and God himself. Because there are no qualified Brahmanas to do Bali. If you cannot give life, you cannot take life. So all the places where Bali is happening, you please quote the name of ISKCON, quote the name of Prabhupada, quote my name also. Let them come and kill me and I'll talk to them. It is not allowed. I'll show them the Vedic scriptures. So Lord Buddha wanted to stop them from slaughtering animals, but they were very envious. They were saying, "Hey, it is mentioned in the Vedas." So Lord Buddha, seeing the helpless and the hopeless condition of people, he said, "Okay, reject the Vedas, just follow." So he cheated the envious people into the mode of goodness lifestyle by rejecting the Vedas. But then after that, Lord sent personalities like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada to again revive the Vedic culture. Lord has a plan. So what I'm saying is Voidism is that culture, covered Buddhism. So these people who do not believe in the transmigration of soul, who do not believe in God, who are atheists, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So Srila Prabhupada is delivering what class of peoples? Nullists, voidists, and especially he started his preaching in the Paschatya Desh or the Western countries. So this is the Pranam mantra of Srila Prabhupada. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, who has very tightly caught hold of the lotus feet of Krishna and is very dear to Krishna on this planet Earth, who is the son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, fully engaged in spreading the message of Lord Gauranga, and is delivering the nullists and voidists while preaching in the Western countries. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatare. Now do you understand who is Srila Prabhupada? He is definitely not an ordinary person. Now question may be asked, why Paschatya Deshatare? Has he not delivered India also? Yes, he has delivered India also. But there is something called as Guru Pradatta Kshetra. His spiritual master specifically ordered him to go and preach in the West. So he describes, or he is described like a preacher of the Western countries. But one day, when he was standing in front of one of his, when he was in one of his temples, standing in front of the Radha Krishna deity, if I'm not wrong, Shri Rukmini Dwarikadhish deity, the deities, while he was standing in front of them and praying to them, those Radha Krishna deities, they ordered him that you go back to India now and start preaching in India. So on the order of Radha and Krishna, Shri Radha and Krishna, Srila Prabhupada came back to India and started preaching in India. And now India is the largest place where Krishna consciousness is being practiced. We have around 400 centers of ISKCON in India. And you cannot imagine how much devotional services each center is rendering. How many people have dedicated their life for the purpose of Krishna consciousness in each of these centers? How much Harinam Sankirtan is being done? How much prasadam distribution is done? How much book distribution is done? How much preaching is done? It cannot be calculated. And then there are so many centers outside India also. It is all because one saintly, transcendental 70-year-old person decided to come out of his comfort zone, leave Vrindavan, suffer 2 heart attacks, and go to the West and preach. It is because of him or his endeavor that we are all sitting here today talking in the English language and releasing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible. So we have to be very, very grateful to him. So, time for a small introduction to Srila Prabhupada. So, we have some young enthusiastic kids here who would like to introduce Srila Prabhupada to you. So, can we call the kids, please? They have made some presentation and they want to speak about Prabhupada to you. So, I hope and I pray, the kids are here. I hope and I pray that all of you will listen very, very attentively to the kids. It's a humble effort from their side. So please learn from them in a small age how much they have associated and very respectfully started to follow the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Please learn from them. I also have a lot to learn from them. They have a very innocent heart. So one by one, the kids will come and they will help us to understand who is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we welcome the kids by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So the kids need a mic, right? So see, there are two kinds of mic. One is the mic for the live recording which is going on, and one is the mic for the audience. So both need to be attached.
Stand here. Okay, shall I hold? Shall I hold?
It's okay.
No.
Hare Krishna devotees, let's hear a brief sketch of Srila Prabhupada's life. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada departed from this world on November 14, 1977 in Vrindavan, India. In his rooms at Krishna Balram temple, surrounded by hundreds of his disciples chanting Hare Krishna up until moments before his passing, he was dictating commentaries on the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today, we honor the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, by remembering his many glorious pastimes and achievements. Srila Prabhupada is the founder of ISKCON Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada won everybody by his immense karuna, compassion, kripa, mercy, and selfless love. He always used to say that he is simply following the orders of his Guru Maharaj and simply repeating his words.
One person will come, the other person.
Come from standing. Yeah. Then you can go.
You go that side.
Yeah, you go that side. Put this one. You can stand.
Childhood. Srila Prabhupada was born on September 1st, 1896 in Calcutta and named by his father as Abhay Charan. His father, Gaur Mohande, and mother, Rajni Devi, were ardent devotees of Lord Krishna, and they brought him up with the same fervor. They belonged to one of the very respectable aristocratic families of gold merchants in Calcutta. His father's only wish was that Abhay should become a devotee of Srimati Radharani. Youth and married life. Abhay studied in Scottish Churches College during the British rule and went to the university to learn chemistry. During this period, he became a supporter of Gandhi's non-cooperation movement for gaining independence and would only dress in khadi. And he even declined to accept his degree from the university under the British rule. In the year 1918, Abhay married Radharani Devi, and later he started his own pharmaceutical company.
Meeting his spiritual master. He met his spiritual master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami for the first time in Calcutta in 1922. At the very first meeting, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati advised Abhay to preach the message of Krishna to the Western world. On his very first meeting, Abhay accepted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta as his spiritual master within his heart, but could take formal initiation only in 1932. In 1936, Srila Prabhupada wrote to his spiritual master requesting for any particular service that he could offer. In response, he received a reply containing the same instructions that he had received in 1922. Teach Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking world. Srila Prabhupada took these instructions as his life and soul. As a beginning step, he started a magazine called Back to Godhead. Single-handedly, he wrote, edited, oversaw the layout, proofread, and sold the copies himself. This magazine is still being published today.
Just one minute. Are you able to listen what the children are saying? Are you able to follow? You're able to hear the details which they are giving. With a lot of effort, they have made this presentation. Please give them their due attention. If there's anything which you are not able to understand or follow, immediately raise your hand, which children will teach you and clarify.
Renounced order of life. In 1950, Srila Prabhupada accepted Vanaprasth, retired life, in order to devote more time to his spiritual studies. In 1953, he received the title Bhakti Vedanta from his god brothers, which means one who has understood the import of the Vedanta and is firmly fixed up in bhakti. He traveled to Vrindavan and lived at the Radha Damodar temple. 9 years later, in 1959, he took sannyas, the renounced order of life. It was during his stay at the Radha Damodar temple that he started writing his masterpiece, the translation and commentary of the Srimad Bhagavatam in English. He also wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. Within a span of few years, he had written 3 volumes of English translation and a commentary for the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Traveled to US. All these years he was constantly contemplating over the orders of his spiritual master to preach in the Western world. He decided to start by taking the message of Krishna consciousness to America. In 1965, at the age of 69, he arrived in New York by a cargo ship called Jaladuta. He suffered 2 massive heart attacks during the voyage. He was practically penniless and possessed only a few copies of his commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam and 40 rupees. After a difficult 6 months, his few followers rented a storefront and apartment in Manhattan, where he regularly gave lectures, held kirtans, and distributed prasadam. People from all walks of life, including hippies, got attracted to Swamiji and became his followers. These followers gradually took initiation from him, became his disciples. Srila Prabhupada also reinstated the Back to Godhead magazine.
Establishment of ISKCON. In July 1966, Srila Prabhupada established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, in New York. His aim was to use this society to promote Krishna consciousness throughout the world. In 1967, he visited San Francisco and started an ISKCON society there. He then sent his disciples all over the world to spread Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message and open new centers in Montreal, Boston, London, Berlin, India, Europe, and other cities in North America. In India, 3 magnificent temples were initially planned: Vrindavana, the Krishna Balrama temple with all its ancillary facilities, Bombay, a temple with an educational and cultural center, and in Mayapur, a huge temple with a Vedic planetarium.
Srila Prabhupada produced all his books, barring the 3 written in India, within the next 11 years. He slept little and spent the early morning hours writing. He wrote almost daily between 1:30 and 4:30 a.m. He dedicated his text, which his disciples then typed and edited. Srila Prabhupada translated the original texts from Sanskrit or Bengali word by word and gave a complete commentary. In the short time he spent in the West, he preached continuously, established 108 temples, wrote more than 60 volumes of transcendental literature, initiated 5,000 disciples, founded the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, and began a scientific academy, the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and other trusts related to ISKCON.
Hare Krishna. So see, these children are very simple. They are presenting the information with a very simple heart. But we are not very simple. We just have something very extraordinary. Please take note that Srila Prabhupada would translate his books every day between 1:30 a.m. to 4:30. What are we doing at that time? And then he established 108 temples. How many of us can do that?
Final instruction. Okay.
And then he wrote more than 67 volumes of transcendental books. How many of you can read 67 books? And then he initiated 5 years. Many of you say, he was the Acharya, the only thing he has to do is to read and study and teach. No, he initiated 5,000 disciples. When you have 5,000 students, means what? You have a lot of people. More the people, more the knowledge. So he had 5,000 disciples to teach, instruct, 108 temples to manage, but at the same time, every day, actually, this is literally at 1:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. But his personal servants will tell you. From around, he would go to sleep at 8:30 p.m. and wake up at 10:30 p.m. And from 11 till morning 4:30 he used to come every day in the night. We have to just understand what he has done for us. Yes, please.
Final instructions by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would say, your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with one another. Cooperation means willingness to work with others irrespective of their difference.
Very nice.
A genuine appeal by Srila Prabhupada. Distribute books, distribute books, distribute books.
I request all the present devotees, Achita Prabhuji, please bless all these little soldiers of Srila Prabhupada so that they can fulfill the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Let's bless them by chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna. So, very, very happy. You see how meticulously these small kids, they compiled such nice information about Srila Prabhupada and they presented Srila Prabhupada in a very crisp way. These small children, they are the flowers of our center and they make our center very beautiful. So before we, today, I'm not going to give a class. Rather, I'm going to invite Srila Prabhupada to give a class. I have selected some small 4-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute videos or lectures of Srila Prabhupada and have compiled it so that you can get a flavor of what it was like to be with Srila Prabhupada. But before I move to that section, I would like to take some reflections from you, from what you heard from these small kids about Srila Prabhupada as a personality. What appealed to you the most? You can raise your hands and tell me what appealed to you. Like, what did you like about the description of the personality of Srila Prabhupada? If you heard, you can say. If you didn't hear, then of course you have to sit down and smile, that's all. Yes.
Dedication and purpose of life.
Dedication in purpose of life. Yes, what was his purpose of life?
And teaching Krishna consciousness.
Following the instructions of his spiritual master, primarily. So he was very dedicated to that purpose. Yes, you're correct. Every moment of his life is the dedication to spreading Krishna consciousness. Thank you. Yes. Yes, Mataji. His unconditional service to his spiritual master and Krishna. And if you serve Krishna, then the whole, not just the human society, but the entire existence of various Jivatmas in this universe gets served. But of course, human society gets the benefit. So his unconditional service to the human society. Yes, real service. Again, I'm going to make a very bold statement. Some people may feel bad. Some people may wait for me to come out of this center. Bahar dekh lenge. Real service to human society or unconditional service to human society does not mean simply making hospitals and distributing blankets and distributing food. Real service to human society means to connect the people back to God. Because only God knows how to take care. You and me, we don't know how to take care of someone. We can just become heroes one day and think that today I am a hero, let me distribute some food. After 1 year on the birthday of my son, I'll again become hero and distribute some blankets. For the next 5 years, I'm not feeling good, so I'm not a hero. But after 6 years, again, I feel like a hero and I go out and distribute some medicines. This is not the way to take care of people. The only person who can actually take care of someone is God. So if we can connect them back to God, that is the real service to the human society. Thank you. Any other point? Yes.
Unconditional service by listening to his spiritual master.
Yes.
At the age of 70, he traveled.
17 nahi. 70.
70, he traveled to the West. He got 2 heart attacks. Even then, at that age, we can't think if it will be out of bad or good.
Yes. Once I was telling to someone that Srila Prabhupada is very great. Just imagine, we have to understand that at the age of 70, he went and preached Krishna consciousness. An old man was sitting there, he interrupted us and he said that you cannot understand what Srila Prabhupada has done until you become 70 years old. So we really cannot understand what he has done. Yes, Prabhupada. Amalatma Prabhu. What is your age, Prabhu? 76. I think he can really understand what Prabhupada has done. Please tell us about what you want to say.
A person literally being penniless that time, though belonged to a very lavish family in a background, having had a fully functional business, left all that and on the direction or in his heart that he took from the spiritual master to serve the Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Go all the way to Western countries, while he got down after having had 2 major heart attacks in the ship only. At Boston, he did not know he is to go to right or left. And there, in 2 years of time, he established 108 temples, not only in America, all over the world. He traveled to communist countries and taught them. The humanities faculty in charge literally go down to him to say, Prabhu, we accept all yours. So this is what is the dedication of our Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, if someone will tell you this story, you will not believe it. This is the best example of a miracle. You have no rupees, you have no money, you have no contacts, you have nowhere to go, you are dependent on Krishna. And then in just 12 years, you go around the globe 14 times and establish 108 temples. Not just 108 temples, he established many farm communities and many gurukuls also. This initiates so many disciples. And all these disciples, they are now world acharyas. And they have dedicated their life to him. He didn't give 1 rupee also to them. He did not give 1 rupee also to him. But anybody who met Srila Prabhupada wanted to become his servant. That is why Srila Prabhupada was so attractive. He was not a very young, beautiful man. He was an old man. If you see, he does not have teeth also in his mouth. And he is coughing all the time, not able to walk properly. He needs a stick to walk. But why is he so attractive? And anybody who used to meet him used to surrender his life to them, her life to them, him. Because he was carrying the most attractive person, Krishna, in his heart. And because he was able to present Krishna as he is. Now, because he was carrying Krishna, anybody who carries Krishna becomes attractive. Your managers and your boss and your employers need to show you something to make you feel attracted to them. But Srila Prabhupada didn't show anything to anybody. He just presented Krishna as he is, and everybody wanted to serve Krishna under his guidance. This is the meaning of an acharya. So now, I will cut short all this discussion, and I will take you through some 5 minutes, 6 minutes video clippings, which will help you to understand who is Srila Prabhupada. Some of these clippings are just some memories, and some of these clippings are actually lectures which he is giving. So please listen to it. Whenever a lecture comes, we are going to stop and ask 1 or 2 questions from it. And if you are able to answer, good. If you are not able to answer, I don't know what to say. So just check if the volume of the television is correct. Full? Volume is full now.
In 1965, an elderly gentleman stood on the deck of a freighter in Boston Harbor and wrote this prayer. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. 12 years later, Hare Krishna was a household word. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had been more than successful. He had founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a worldwide confederation of over 100 ashrams, schools, temples, and farm communities, and had made the chanting of Hare Krishna familiar to millions of people. He had written and published over 80 volumes of translation and commentary on self-realization, which are now standard in universities and libraries around the world. And he had gathered about him thousands of dedicated disciples. Srila Prabhupada became known to the world as a scholar, philosopher, social critic, and spiritual leader. But to his disciples, Srila Prabhupada was dearmost friend, father, and inner guide. The importance of the spiritual master to his disciples cannot be overstated. It is said that only by the mercy of the spiritual master can one receive the benediction of Krishna, and without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any spiritual advancement. So the disciple's entire life focuses on the spiritual master and his instructions. In this relationship, the activities of the spiritual master are of monumental importance to his devotees. A disciple finds meaning even in the smallest gesture. Wherever he traveled, Srila Prabhupada would emerge daily into the chill and quiet of the early morning, and cloaked in a warm wrap, he would take a lengthy stroll with an entourage of students, disciples, and guests. Some mornings would find Srila Prabhupada immersed in contemplation or a quiet appreciation of natural scenery. At other times, Srila Prabhupada would speak at great length and often with considerable intensity on various subjects. During these animated discourses, Srila Prabhupada would turn the profound Vedic philosophy into a practical cutting edge that penetrated every sphere of life and thought. The word acharya means one who teaches by example, and the following unedited footage provides an intimate glimpse into the exemplary life of Srila Prabhupada. To most people, the daily activities of a spiritual master are a mystery, and it is interesting to see how such an important historical figure conducted his everyday affairs. What emerges is an endearing portrait of an authentic spiritual personality.
Is that escaping or it is intelligent? That you work hard and give it to me, you enjoy. This is intelligent. It is not escaping. That is going on. The capitalists, they are engaging these rascals, asses, in the factory, and he is enjoying life. So that is intelligence. They let these rascals work hard and make a nice park for us, and we shall take advantage of it. This is intelligence. And it is called Ajagar Vritti. Ajagar Vritti, Ajagar means the big snake is called Ajagar. So these mounds, they make hole and want to live there. And the company living, in the meantime, the Ajagar comes, he eats that mouse and leaves country. Our is Ajagar Vritti. You work for the whole to live comfortably, but we take possession of the house and live comfortably. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Muspa Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sthitare Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Navacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivacharya Gaur Bhakti ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी टू जय और ग्लोरी टू जय थैंक यू वेरी मच ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय This is a conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit, 5,000 years ago, he was the emperor of the whole world. Formerly, up to 5,000 years ago, the whole world was being controlled and ruled over by kings whose capital was Hastinapur, New Delhi. There was only one flag, only one ruler, one scripture, Vedic scripture, and the Aryans, the Arya, they were the civilized persons. You, Europeans, Americans, you are also Aryans, Indo-European stock, Maharaj Tejasi, grandson of Maharaj Parikshit, he gave to his two sons the portion of Eastern Europe, Greek and Roman. That is the history. Mahabharata. Mahabharata means Great India. So, there was no different religion, one religion, Vedic religion. Vedic religion means to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Person, Absolute Truth. This is Vedic religion. Those who have read Bhagavad Gita, it is said there in the 15th chapter, Vedaishta sarvai ahamiva vedyam. Vedic knowledge means to understand God. This is Vedic. Later on, with the progress of Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga means the dark age or the sinful age or the age for argument, unnecessary talks and fight. This is called Kali Yuga. That is going on. Since the last 5,000 years, the Kali Yuga has begun, and the beginning of Kali Yuga was cow slaughtering. So, at the present moment, practically there is no Brahmin, no Kshatriya, no Vaishya, only Shudras, fourth class men. So you cannot expect any happiness guided by the fourth class men. That is not possible. Therefore, throughout the whole world, there is chaotic condition. Nobody is happy. So, this is essential that the human society must be divided into 4 divisions. The Brahmin class means the first class ideal man, so that by the seeing their character, their behavior, others will try to follow. Jajjad acharati shrestha. So this Krishna consciousness movement means we are trying to create some first class man. This is Krishna consciousness, this movement. So, therefore, we have got these rules and regulations. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. This is the preliminary qualification of a first class man. You are sitting here, if you don't sit here, the conclusion that
Prabhupada, on our tape recorder here that we have.
So, we just saw some unedited video clips of Srila Prabhupada. He was just delivering a lecture. Now, this is one very nice conversation which is happening in the garden. And he's very nicely instructing people about spirit soul. Requesting all devotees to listen to this, and we can have a small discussion based on this short video clip.
So, past, present, future, you exist. The body changes. Is it not clear?
That's clear.
Yeah. So therefore, the conclusion that when he will not have this body, he will have another body. You are sitting here. If you don't sit here, you go. That does not mean you are sitting, opportunity is lost. You are sitting here, you sit somewhere. Similarly, the change of body is going on. Therefore, the conclusion is that after you give up this body, you will have another body, as you have already done. What is the difficulty to understand?
The seeming difficulty is that while the body is different from that of a boy.
Different body must be different. Therefore, that is called change of body. Unless it is a different body, where is the change?
The memory is there, the boy, and or the spirit is there.
The memory, sometimes we may not remember. Just like this child, he may not have memory when he was very small, but you have got memory. You know, when he was a small child, you are doing something, or he was playing with some cats and dogs, but he does not remember that. But you remember it. So, simply because he has forgotten, does that mean that the incidences were not present? So this argument is not very strong, because I cannot remember. You do not remember so many things. But the fact is this, that you are changing from this body to this body to this body. Therefore the conclusion should be that after this body I will accept another body. And that's a fact. As you have accepted in this life from one body to another body, there is a process how to accept it. Similarly, under the same process, you accept another body when this body is no longer useful. Just like at night, you give up this body, you take your subtle body and you go to somewhere. You are sleeping in your room, but you are working in a different place. Don't you do that? So, because this body is still useful, therefore you come to back again this body, and in the morning you wake up with this body. So death means when this body is useless, you do not come to this body, you accept another body. This is called death. That subtle body takes you from this body to the womb of another mother by nature's direction, that this soul shall get this kind of body. So the soul is entered in the womb of another mother's body, and then the body is prepared by the mother's blood and flesh, and when the body is sufficiently capable of working itself, then it comes again and begins its work. This is birth and death. The soul is eternal. Therefore, a sober man should think, why should I change my body? Why this trouble I shall take? That is human sense. If I am eternal, why not my eternal body? Eternal existence, why shall I die? This is human sense. Unless one comes to this understanding, he is animal. Because animal, by nature's law, is going on. He does not know. Then a human form of body, when he understands that I'll have to change this body, I'll have to get another body, then the question is, what kind of body I shall get? That is human intelligence. By nature's way, we are getting body, but that is on the selection of the nature according to my work. If I work like animal, I get animal body. If I work as demigod, I get demigod body. If I act as trees, then you get tree body. If you acted like dog, you get dog's body. Nature's way. Therefore you find so many varieties of body. This philosophy does not appeal. Natural.
Can we have a short 5-minute discussion on what you heard in this lecture? And let me stop now. Yes, so what did you hear in this lecture? Can we have a short discussion, please? Something which appealed to you. Srila Prabhupada was sitting somewhere and he was explaining the concept of transmigration of soul. Did you learn something from this? If you learned, can you please raise your hands and answer yes?
Soul is eternal and body.
Soul is eternal and body keeps changing in everybody.
How we act, we get that type of.
The kind of actions we have that decides our next body. Yes, you were raising your hand.
Just because you don't remember something doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yes.
You don't remember that experience.
We do not remember our previous lives doesn't mean that I did not murder someone in my previous life. I don't remember what sinful activities I have done in my previous life. And when the reactions of those sinful activities done in previous life come to me in this life, I say, why is God doing this to me? Either God is not all powerful or he's not all good. Otherwise, why was my son born blind? Why did my husband die? These kind of atheistic arguments come because we see our life from a point of reference. We don't see our life as one life amongst various series of lifetimes. Yes, any other point? This is my hobby. I just hear a lecture of Srila Prabhupada and derive some points from it. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, if Prabhupada gives a half-an-hour lecture, on that lecture, half an hour, I can speak for 2 hours. That's why, I'm able to present Krishna consciousness. Yes, any other points? Yes, please.
What I understand, like you have certain thing as a memory,
which has some time, after that maybe you forget, next life, but something is a belief which we develop in this life. And that becomes the reference of your next birth, which we create now, what you will have a belief now, of point what we create now will take it forward to my next life or next body, rather than my memories. That's why memory will not continue.
I think you're trying to say that based on the karma which you do, that decides your next life. It's not just belief. If I start believing that there's no God, doesn't mean that there's no God. However, if I lead a life thinking there's no God, that is a kind of karma. And that will lead to a godless existence in next life. There are many parts of the world where there is no discussion on God. And why people take birth in those places? Because they really want to be in a godless society. So it's your karma which takes you there. Okay? One last point and then we go to the next section. Any other point? Yes. Yes. Correct. Mataji is saying that human beings should understand this process of transmigration of soul. And Prabhupada was saying a sober man should think why I should change my body. This nasty business of entering the womb of a mother of some species, maybe cat species, human species, demigod species. Why should I do this nasty business of entering the wombs of various mothers? Why I should change my body? Why I should not go back home, back to Godhead? So that is called human intelligence. Being a human being, if we do not worry about the transmigration of our soul in next life, then we are eating poison. Okay, so now we go back to the next section. So this is a short video about the arrival. Srila Prabhupada is arriving in one of the temples, and immediately after arrival, within 5 minutes, he sends a message which is so strong. You will just see that.
New discovery. We don't manufacture. This is our process. We simply follow the predecessor's instruction. That's it. Our movement is very easy because we haven't got to manufacture something. We simply repeat the words and the instruction given by the predecessor. Krishna instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narad, Narad instructed Vyasdev, Vyasdev instructed Madhyacharya, and in this way, then Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis, then the Srinivasa Acharya, Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then we are doing the same thing. There is no difference. That is the specific procedure of the Krishna consciousness movement. You are singing daily Guru Bukha Padma Vakka Chittete Koriya Oikko. Arna Koriya Mane As. Very simple thing. We are receiving the transcendental knowledge through Guru Parampara, succession. So we have to simply take instruction from Guru, and if we execute that to our heart and soul, that is success. That is practical. I have no personal qualification, but I simply try to satisfy my Guru. That's all. My Guru Maharaj asked me that if you get some money, you print books. So, there was a private meeting talking, some of my important God brothers also there, it was in Radha Kunda. So, Guru Maharaj was speaking to me that since we have got this Bhagavajar and Marble Temple, there has been so many dissensions. And everyone is thinking, we'll occupy this room or that room, that room. I wish therefore to sell this temple and the marble and print some book. Yes. So I took up this from his mouth, that he is very fond of books. And he told me personally that if you get some money, print books. Therefore I am stressing on this point. Where is book? Where is book? Where is book? So kindly help me. This is my request. Print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world. Then Krishna consciousness movement will automatically increase. Now the educated, learned scholars, they are appreciating our movement by reading books, by taking practical result. Dr. Stilson Judah, he has written one book, perhaps you know, Hare Krishna and Counter Culture. A very nice book about our movement, and he is giving importance. He has admitted that, Swamiji, you have done a wonderful thing because you have turned the drug-addicted hippies into devotees of Krishna, and they are prepared for the service of humanity.
Well, so again, a nice short lecture. In this lecture, Srila Prabhupada is basically stressing upon the importance of having a spiritual master who comes in the line of bona fide disciplic succession. If you very clear, if you had heard attentively, he mentioned how starting from Krishna, then Narada, then Vyasa, then Madhvacharya, and ultimately till himself, that how we are not manufacturing something, we are not inventing something. We do not have something called as ISKCON Research Center or Bhakti Vedanta Academy of Vedic Research. We don't do any research. Research has been done by Vedvyas. We have to just try to understand it properly. One lifetime is not sufficient to understand only. So you have to just try to understand it properly and follow. And then he laid stress on the importance of following the instructions of the spiritual master. Such a great Acharya, he is telling, I have no personal qualification. The secret of my success is that just I am trying to please my Guru. And his spiritual master wanted him to print books. Therefore, he kept on, till the last breath of his life, he was engaged in this activity of translating Srimad Bhagavatam so that it can be printed and distributed. I'll show you a very nice interview of Srila Prabhupada, three minutes interview, which I think you will like a lot.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You founded the Hare Krishna movement some 7 years ago in 1967, did you not?
Yes.
In a capsule, what is the movement?
The movement is to awaken God consciousness of the human being. The human being is distinguished from the animals, that the animals cannot understand what is God. And if the human being also does not understand what is God, then he is enemy.
I see. And so your movement is to bring about an understanding of God among human beings.
Yes.
And Hare Krishna means what?
Hare Krishna means addressing the energy of God. Hare means the energy of God, and Krishna means God.
Okay, you were here yesterday and to attend your annual festival that was held here in Golden Gate Park, and we were there too. And in fact, here it is. A few thousand people came out to hear it. How many people are now disciples of the Krishna consciousness movement?
Dedicated life, about 10,000.
About 10,000 dedicated
in the
ones.
Western world.
Your Grace, is there any significance at all in the shaved head? Why are heads shaved?
We keep ourselves very clean, that's all.
Oh, it's just a cleanliness thing?
Yes.
Is there any significance in the color of the robes?
At least at the present moment, people think that by keeping long hair, it becomes very beautiful.
I see.
Yes. So we are against that.
Just as simple as that. Is there any significance in the yellow robes?
Yellow robe is the dress, those who are dedicated.
It could very well have been a blue robe. It's just something that was arrived at.
This saffron.
Your Grace, why do you feel that so many people are pulling away from the traditional religions in this country, such as Christianity and so forth, and going for the trying to understand the Eastern religions? We hear a lot of swamis and gurus and other type of yogi and so forth. Why do you feel that people are pulling away from the traditional Christian standards here?
But we see that the Christian churches, especially I've seen in London, mostly closed. People are not interested, or the Christian leaders, they cannot make them interested.
Why? Did Christianity fail the people, which is why they're turning to other things? Or?
I think so.
You say that Hare Krishna consciousness pretty much takes the absolute truths from the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and the Vedic.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Religion means to understand God.
I understand, but do you feel that in getting truths from various places like the Bible and the Quran and so forth, don't you run into conflicts at all or contradictions in those particular philosophies?
No, I don't find any conflict, because the ultimate goal is God. So you have to understand God and try to love Him. So you can go through any religious process. If the goal is attained, that you understand what is goal, and you try to love Him, then your life is perfect.
Why do we see so many of your followers chanting almost all the time?
Chanting means to keep association with God always.
So you have to audibly chant Hare Krishna?
Yes. This is transcendental vibration. Just like a radio message, if you keep contact with the radio message, then you know everything what is going on outside. Similarly, this transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, if you chant, then you keep connection with God directly.
Thank you very much, Your Divine Grace. It's been our privilege to talk with you and to meet you.
Thank you.
And hope that we can see you again when you return.
Hare Krishna. The real enjoyer and sufferer. If we enter in devotional service, we get a different nature. And if we engage in the business of sense gratification. विवेचन चीज है.
And then that karma is tad dehopa labdi hetu.
Yeah. And according to the association of different nature, we get a body. Karanam gunasammasya satasat janma yoni. Therefore, we should always seek good association, devotee association. Then on life will be successful.
So, we saw something very important right now here. We are celebrating the disappearance of the Acharya. And we saw when he was in the last minutes of his life, he was teaching us practically how to die. That's why I always say it's not, this life is meant for preparation for death. You know, when it's easy to speak, but then Srila Prabhupada is displaying by his personal behavior when he's about to leave his body, when multiple organ failures have happened. Even in that moment, he could have just stopped. He could have said, just keep me warm, or give me some water, or just let me be in peace. Let me remember Krishna. But then even at the time of death, you see that one of the devotees was reading in Sanskrit from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 13. And he was hearing those Sanskrit dictations and he was translating and giving commentary to those verses of Bhagavatam in English. This is at the time of death. When something happens to us in our life, we feel so disturbed. We don't feel like chanting, we don't come to classes. We don't feel like reading the Bhagavad Gita, but here is a personality who, before dying, when multiple organ failures have happened, he's still focused on what his spiritual master told him. So he's translating Srimad Bhagavatam. So whenever I don't feel like reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or the other books written by Srila Prabhupada, I always see this video and I understand that how much he has done for all of us. If we do not take advantage, then it is a crime actually. Being born in India and having this advantage of being connected to the Vedic culture, and now having the greatest fortune of coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada, still, if I am not chanting Hare Krishna, not associating with devotees, not reading the Bhagavad Gita, not following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, then it's a very sad thing. It's really sad. So this is, I'm just showing you some videos which keep me up in Krishna consciousness. And we would like to end today's discussion now because it will keep on going and going. There's no limit. But I would like to end this session with a very, very fond memory of how Srila Prabhupada would give love and receive love from his disciples. As an Acharya, he was respected like God by his students. But he made it very clear, I am not God. But he also made it clear that I am a bona fide representative of God. So I'd like to show you a video where you will feel very nice and your appreciation about Srila Prabhupada will increase. And with this, we end today's session.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma 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 Bandhu Savadhana Mate Bandhu Savadhana Mate Bandhu Savadhana Mate Bandhu Savadhana Mate Jahar prasade bhai e bhavatori aja Jahar prasade bhai e bhavatori aja Krishna prapti ho jaha hoite 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 Guru mukha padma vakya चित्त ते कोरिया क्या padma vakya चित्त ते कोरिया क्या धारणा कोरि हो मने आशा धारणा कोरि हो मने आशा धारणा कोरि हो लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना महाप्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया एबे जास गुशुक त्रिभुवाना एबे जास गुशुक त्रिभुवाना आहा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया
So that was a short, brief presentation on Srila Prabhupada. There are many lectures of Srila Prabhupada which are available. We will share the links which you can hear and take advantage from. Srila Prabhupada has very nicely presented the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in his books. Today we have kept some of his books near his photo. There are also some books written by disciples of Srila Prabhupada about Srila Prabhupada. If you want, you can read that also. But then, let's just like all good things should come to an end. So this session has now come to an end. And we would like to invite all of you to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada in your life and read the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And essentially, just like Prabhupada was telling in that interview, just when you hear a radio message, you are always in touch with the outside world. Similarly, as long as you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you can chant it constantly, then you're always in connection with God. So with that, we end today's session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.